I've just waited 3 years to see Elton John, but was it worth it?
The 80s Rewind Show podcast, where the past meets the present.
So let's go back a bit, shall we? It's 2019, and Elton John's just released tickets for his Goodbye Yellow Brick Road tour. So me and my mate Luke are super excited. Now, I know most people come back on a tour, like Frank Sinatra toured 8 times after he retired. Kiss, I'm sure I've done it 3 times. But this is definitely it for Elton. So anyway, me and my mate Luke buy tickets, and then what happens? The disease of no name comes in, and we can't see Elton. Then after that, things look great. Then he breaks his hip. We can't see him again. So we've had to wait 3 years to see him. Every time it got closer and closer, we thought he was going to cancel. But then finally, last night, we went to see him. He did a 23-song set. 23 songs, all in one go. No warm-up band either. Elton just came out with his band and absolutely smashed the roof off the place. Now, Elton's 75 years old, and he just did this gig straight out the bat without stopping. He opened up with Benny and the Jets, which was absolutely fantastic. Straight away, all the crowd was clapping along and singing, just like in the original record. He did Philadelphia Freedom, and I guess that's why they call it the blues. Straight away, he had the crowd, just like this. And I was one of them, I got to be honest. After that, he did Border Song, and following that, he did Tiny Dancer. Now, thanks to the film Absolutely Famous, that song is now huge again, and we wouldn't have had that on this tour if it wasn't for that film. So thank you, Cameron Crowe, for putting it in your film. After that, we had Have Mercy on the Criminal, and following that, Rocket Man. I think it's going to be a long, long time. Now, what was wonderful about that is right at the end, him and Davey Johnson, the guitar player, they were sort of improvising around each other, and they were sort of making it spacey and like whimsical, and there was loads of reverb and echo, but they were clearly sparring with each other and playing with each other because they kept smiling at each other. It was wonderful to see 2 old friends that, you know, that have been playing together since the 1970s, really having fun together. Following that, Take Me to the Pilot. He did Someone Save My Life Tonight, and then following that, Leave On from Madman Across the Water. Now, that is an Elton John album that is outstanding. If people haven't heard it, you got to get that. Find it on Spotify, download it on YouTube, whatever you got to do, hear that album. Following that, he did Candle in the Wind, and it was beautiful. And you can still tell that song has tons of emotion there for him. Following that, we had Funeral for a Friend and Love Lies Bleeding, which is an instrumental from the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album. And it's right at the start of the second side, I think it is. And it was lovely. It was just musical with the band playing, loads of graphics on the screen. It was amazing. Following that, Burn Down the Mission, then Sad Songs Say So Much. That's one of those songs I never thought he'd do live, but he went for it on this one. Following that, Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word. Fantastic song. And following that, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, which was a really emotional song. And he had videos from the Rocket Man film following the song, and it really, really hit home when you saw the progression of him through the years up until that point. After that, The Bitch Is Back, and the fantastic I'm Still Standing followed that track as well. The crowd was singing along and going crazy. And then to end off, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, an Elton John favourite, and one that I have to sing at karaoke if I ever go. You probably don't want to hear that. It's absolutely terrible. I'm a terrible singer. Anyway, as always, he went off. We have to chant. It's all dark. It's all the cheering, all the business. So after a while, he came out in his dressing gown and he sat at the piano and he sung Cold Heart with him and Gianluca. It's an interesting choice. I didn't think he was going to do that one because it was just a weird track for him to do right at the end. It was like a house track. It didn't fit anything. He wasn't playing the piano. He just sat there singing. And then after that, he did Your Song, which he dedicated to everybody and said, this is the first single I'm dedicating to everybody. And especially his fans that come and see him every time. That was wonderful. And then the last song of the night was Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, which it had to be as well. So he did 23 songs flat out over 3.5 hours, and it was absolutely amazing. The thing at the end, though, he did Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and he sort of got on this lift, which took him out of the up the stage and out of the back, but it kind of looked like a stair lift. So it kind of looked like he was an old man going to bed. That's the only bit I was a bit like, oh, that's a shame. But apart from that, that was great. So I was thinking, if I was Elton John, how would I do those last songs? If I had to do an encore, what would my numbers be? He didn't do Daniel, which is one of my favorite Elton John songs, unfortunately. So I would have done I'm Still Standing, Daniel, Honky Cat. He didn't play Honky Cat either, which was a shame, which is a fantastic track off Honky Chateau. And then Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. So it would have been I'm Still Standing, Daniel, Honky Cat, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. So what's nice is Elton started on the left of the stage, and as the gig went on, the piano moved over to the right-hand side, and then he went off and got changed and things like that and came back on. But what's great is he still has monitors. Like most musicians now have in-ear monitors, so they don't have monitors on the stage. Elton's old school, and he had them all around him. I thought that was a really wonderful touch. He's got the same band that he's had for ages, Nigel Lawson on drums, Davey Johnson on guitar, and Ray Cooper playing percussion. So the question asked, was it worth seeing? He was 100% worth seeing. He was absolutely fantastic. The merch wasn't too bad either. I got a program for £20. They were selling clothes and records there for like 50 to 75 quid. But if you go on Elton John's website, it's a lot cheaper. I'll put a link in the description below so you can find it. So yeah, get yourself on there, get yourself some Elton merch before it's too late. He was brilliant. He was amazing. He's a bucket list artist I've always wanted to see, and I could tick him off the list. I was meant to see him 8 years ago, and he pulled out because of appendicitis, and then he pulled out 3 times up until last night. It was worth seeing. He was great. If you can get tickets to go and see him, definitely go and do it. You won't regret it. Elton at 75, you did yourself proud, buddy. You were fantastic. Anyway, I'm Rob the Face Radio Burgess. This is the 80s Rewind Show podcast. Please like and subscribe because it definitely helps me out, and tell your friends about the review if they're going to see Elton or they've seen Elton. Let me know what you think in the comments below if you have seen him. I'd love to know what you thought of the concert. I'll see you on the next one. Ta-da.